Welcome to another recap video. Today, April 1st, we caught a move for 8 points, paper handed it. It actually went for over 20, but I want to show you how we caught this move and how it only took about 3 minutes for that 8-point move to pan out. I trade supply and demand, and most of the time these moves happen quick because we trade with the large institutional money and we watch the order flow to see when they start to step in. So we're going to be going over how we found our levels of this video, how we managed the trade once we were in that trade, order flow, and how we used order flow in this instance so that when the same type of scenario shows up, you can take those same trades. I'm all about education here and want you to become profitable faster and independently. It's what I'm all about. So feel free to give me feedback if there's any questions that you have about this. So first things first, here's what the market looked like at market open today. My crosshair here is at the last candle on Sunday night over here. So the rest of this we did not see. In the Discord this morning, I mentioned that a weekly setup that I'm looking at is if we cannot sustain these new highs, I'm looking at this supply zone for rejections. We had this downtrend move pushed up into Sunday into new highs. This area previously here, because of this large move down, I had this marked out as a supply zone. You'll see as we bring back the drawings, this is a supply zone from the top of the wick to the bottom of the candle body. We have a supply zone. Same thing on SPY. If we move over to SPY, this will be relevant because we used this level today. This was that same all-time high supply zone just on SPY. Now, if we move over, we've now zoomed in onto the day's action this morning. This is the exact trade that we took. We took it on ES. What I saw when this day opened, we started to push down in the pre-market. As the day went on, news caused this to push down even further pretty aggressively. When I see a candle like this, I'm usually biased in the direction of the candle. I think there's often fair value gaps in here, and it just shows that the more aggressive orders are in the direction of the bigger types of moves like this. On top of it, it was done with volume. Usually news moves with volume, so that happened. But look, as we pushed back up, talking about volume anomalies, volume decreased down below, right? So we have a high volume push down, a low volume push up. I always say volume validates moves. So this move up invalidated by the volume, right? We didn't really believe in this move up. As we did that, I actually wanted this to come back up into this ES supply. I am biased a little bit more towards ES zones just because ES is open, around the clock. But nonetheless, wanted this to come back a little bit higher. Was okay that it didn't, because that same SPY all-time high that we were looking at previously here, that's the zone that you're looking at here, was in this area. And sometimes this will happen. I will use SPY, ES, SPX all together, and sometimes their levels are in different spots just given when they're open and how they're moving. And so both of these were actually the same supply zones at all-time highs, but SPY was a little bit lower. All of that said, we came back up into this supply zone. I was watching this area, VWAP specifically. I love using VWAP for confluence entries. We had the 21 EMA here as well, and was speculating that this could be a low risk, high reward scenario. I look for these asymmetrical bets where I can place my stop in really small spots. 2 points of stop loss is ideally what I want, because the moves that I catch are often 6 to 8 to 10, and so risk reward is in my favor if I take those types of setups only. We've already talked about how we noticed this volume anomaly. Order flow played a big role in this trade as well today. We're going to be looking at the replay feature here on Bookmap, and what this is going to show is how the orders flowed in, how the heat map looked back at that time that I was taking this trade. I believe I placed this trade at about 8:16 a.m. my time. I'm in Mountain Standard Time, so that's why you see what you see up here. And I want to pay attention to a few things here. If you've never used Bookmap, these bubbles represent the aggressive orders in the market. The green are the aggressive buy orders, the red are the aggressive sell orders. The bigger the bubbles, the bigger the orders. These horizontal lines here represent the passive orders in the market, likely limit orders that are just sitting out in the market. The darker the area, the more orders that there are. And you can take a look at the depth of market here and how there's correlation here. There's just more orders here, a bigger area of orders there as well. Now we're gonna press play here and note that this is at a 4x speed. So this is 4x of what the market is normally looking like. Back to the original trade that I lost on, I was actually using this area as a stop loss, this 53.12, and it wicked up and was prevented by these passive orders here. So that was actually the first indication that I should potentially jump back in, because there was aggressive orders moving up and they were prevented by the limit orders that were there, showing that aggression was in the market, but they were absorbed by the limit sell orders that were there. And they then pushed back down. Now, I'm evaluating if I should jump back into this given that at this point. As we watch here, note that there was aggressive buying and we're still holding here, right? We're about a minute in from when we watched. And I don't know if you saw some additional orders come in here. Sometimes I will use that as confluence with Bookmap just to show that more people are interested. There's more limit sell orders getting put into the market. This buyer, it showed again that there was another aggressive buyer in the market, tried to push up and was held down. Not only that, but aggressive selling pushed the market down in rapid fashion. There's two things that you should be paying attention to here, I think, with order flow. One is what we always talk about, the 4 scenarios that aggressive buyers or sellers could be pushing the market, or aggressive buyers or sellers could be trapped. In this case, we were watching for trapped buyers here. So that was the scenario. And then also watching how price moves. I'll often talk about the timing or the movement and how price will move after you see some of this aggression. So the fact that we saw an aggressive buyer here and then aggressive sellers come in, push the market down fairly rapidly, that's another sign that things are going in the direction for the sellers. You got to think about the pain that the buyers or the sellers are going to be in. If buyers hop in and it immediately goes against them, they're not going to like that. Buyers want to be rewarded with higher territory, movement in their direction, ideally quickly. And when all of those things are against them, they're going to be in pain. So at this point, we're starting to come up on right around when I was looking to enter into this trade. Again, bigger sellers came in here, showing that there was additional interest in pushing this further down. You'll see that passive buyers were right there. You saw this yellow line come in and they were eaten up by the aggressive sellers. That was officially the sign for me that I wanted to place a trade. I wanted to put some risk on here. I could have my stop loss above the VWAP that we showed below, but there was clearly aggression in this market and buyers were starting to get absorbed and trapped. Note also, we'll continue to play this and you'll see how additional bigger orders come in and this starts to move a little bit more rapidly to the downside. Another big sell order coming in here. This is exactly what I want to see. At this point, I'm up 2-3 points, and this continues to move rapidly towards liquidity. If you use footprint charts, here's what you would have seen on a footprint chart. Buyers trying to push this up, just as we saw with those green bubbles, trying to push it up higher, prevented at the highs here, quite the imbalance of aggressive buyers and a push down. I caught my entry right about here. It was 5310.5 here. Supported by aggressive selling. Note this 5-minute candle also moved pretty dramatically. That's the exact type of move that I like to take. Low stress, low drawdown, quick movement. When things go right in my direction, that's what I love. That's the type of trades that I love to take. Now, one thing that looking back on, I'm always trying to improve And given that today was a Monday, Mondays are typically choppy action. It's pretty rare that I find that we get a trend day on a Monday. So I actually took this trade fully off at about 8.5 points. Of course, this continued to move down. So leaving an additional runner is something that I could always do, but I'm never gonna be upset at over a 4R trade. Those are the types of things that keep people profitable for the long term. We called this trade live in the Discord today. We have been going on live voice in the Discord and it's been phenomenal. We've yet to have a red day. We're excited to keep the streak going. Feel free to join there if you want to accelerate your education. We're on live voice just so that you can learn faster. It's never meant to be purely a signals chat, but I do share every time I enter and exit a trade. So even that first loss I mentioned I was in, I also mentioned that I took that loss and then when I jumped in again and how I managed it. If you liked any of this content, would appreciate a like, a subscription, a follow, and we're live most days on TikTok and YouTube, so feel free to check either of those out if any of this material was helpful for you. Thanks, and we'll see you next time.